Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This live stream is a little different because it is a live stream about nothing. I had a little bit of free time and thought I would jump on here and have a quick chat with you guys because I had some time to kill. We'll see whether I even have enough bandwidth for this to even work, right? We may actually just kill the video after we have this conversation if anybody shows up, because the quality may be so low that it's not even worth keeping it up. I checked the speed of the feed and it wasn't very good, but I was like, you know what, let's roll the dice, let's have some fun, let's see what happens. And as I'm saying this, there are people pouring into the room, so it is good to see you guys. Johnny Future is here, Brian is in the house, Cuz Buzz, hola, ¿cómo estás? Is here. Russ C is in a house. He says, I'm here for it, even if it's nothing. You guys remember when I used to do all those announcements? Now I've got no announcements. I'm doing videos and live nothing now, you know. Poncho is in the house. Spill Pin Comics is in the house. Jake Conrad. What's cool though is that I'm going live at an unusual time, which means that there's a different crowd of people here. There are folks here that I have never seen before in a live chat, which I think is really cool. Jake Conrad, it's good to see you, brother. Odd Sock Comics. I did that. H-Town Comics, how you doing, brother? Mr. Gorell is here. Luis is here. Who else is there? Jeremiah Perry Hill is in the house. Ross is here. Captain Carnage. Chaos Kindness, how you doing, brother? He says that he is at the Disney Hotel. Family is still asleep, brother. It sounds like your family needs to wake up so you guys can get your money at that park. What time does the park open? You guys need to be there in line like Wally World. Remember that? Pedro's in the house. It is good to see you guys. Connecting Comics just asked me a quick question a few seconds ago. So I had some time to kill. I was like, let me jump online. I don't know how the feed looks to you guys. It looks grainy on my side. I don't know what you guys are seeing over there. I may end up deleting this thing a little bit later, but I had some time to kill. Put up a comment real quick on the community tab and was like, hey, anybody interested in the live chat? And a couple of people gave it a thumbs up. And then Connecting Comics asked a question. And I think his question was around my feelings around I think he said restoration for a comic with mildew. And my question back to him was, I wasn't sure if that was considered restoration versus a dry cleaning. And I'm all for dry cleaning, right? I'm all for cleaning and pressing books and all that kind of stuff to, you know, improve the appearance of that book and to restore that book to some, you know, semblance of good. So I'm all for that. Restoration, a purple label book is not my thing, but a dry cleaning, I'm definitely good for it. Who is this? Says he finally got to a live stream. He's at the gym on the treadmill. Brother, I am glad that I could entertain you on that treadmill because cardio is boring. I'm gonna tell you, I honestly reply back to a lot of you guys' comments at night when I'm on the bike, like after my workout and I'm on the bike and I'm pedaling doing my post-workout cardio. I'll actually sit and reply to people if I'm not playing the new Star Trek game on my cell phone. So again, who's ready for Endgame? Poncho, I think everybody's ready for Endgame. And so I'm about to spoil it for you guys. I saw it. I'm about to run down every plot point and twist in the course of this video. No, I'm joking. I haven't seen it. Probably won't see it for like another year. Luke is in the house. Old Wolf 65. It's good to see you guys. So what questions do you guys have? I'm trying to kill some time before running some errands. I'm waiting for a couple of my comic shops to open up because I need to go shopping for trivia night. So I was like, let me just jump on here and see if the people want to chat for a little bit. NC Slapjack says T-minus 5 hours till his tickets for Endgame. That's what's up. Enjoy it, bro. Luis says he's watching Marvel's The Punisher on Netflix. Nice. There you go. So sorry about that little eye itch there. Donald says, I wanted to ask if you've ever read Green Arrow of the 1970s. It was one of the greatest comic books he's ever read into Marvel, but one of the greatest. So somebody actually sent me some Green Arrow. Was it The Long Bow or something like that? Somebody sent me some Green Arrow books recently, and I have not had a chance to read them yet. I did, however, watch the Green Arrow TV show. It's the bomb. I'm gonna just be honest. I didn't know a thing about Green Arrow. That TV show was the bomb. And I was like, okay, if that character's that cool, maybe I should read the book. And then I think right after that, somebody actually sent me some Green Arrow stuff. I haven't read it yet, but it is here and I want to actually get around to doing it. One of the challenges, though, is that there are so many great characters, so many great story arcs. Same thing with TV shows, so many great TV shows. You can't watch all of it, so it's all about trying to prioritize things and trying to come up with some order that actually makes sense. And so at some point, I'm actually going to read this Green Arrow series because I think it's good. But at the same token, I want to check out some Flash. I have Hush in a box that I still haven't read, and I want to read that. I want to read year one. I have year two. It's just, you can't get to it all. So hopefully sooner or later, I'll be able to check it out. Bello, or is that Rob Bello, says, saw it last night. He won't spoil it, even if it, I've heard it's really, really good. So if you guys do have questions, post up your comments for me if you can in cap so that I can actually see them. Chaotic Kindness says, when are you going to post your books you're going to sell? When they come back from CGC, bro. So I have a video coming out soon where I'm actually going to give you guys an update on where I am in the hunt for Amazing Fantasy 15. My first shipment of books was actually received and is scheduled for grading, which I'm hoping will take place at some point this week. And then, like I said, I have a video coming out where I'll give you guys an update on like what books I sent in and then what the second shipment of books was. So I think I cover all of that in that video. One of my challenges right now, honestly, and this is not be bragging at all, I've been recording so much content that I'm struggling with like how to release it all, right? Because there are some days where you guys watch a lot of videos. There's other days where you don't watch as much. And so I'm trying to, of course, prioritize it on when people will watch the most videos, right? But I have a backlog of content right now. It's a little ridiculous. So I'm trying to figure out how best to release it and to release it in the right order. So I don't know when that video is going to come out, but hopefully maybe next week, maybe the week after, we'll see, because there's a backlog. So definitely some stuff coming out. Cuzbuzz says, talk about how much creative control artists should have for their work. So I think that this is one of the things that has bubbled to the surface with the videos that I've been releasing around Rob Liefeld and Brian Michael Bendis. So here's my opinion. Creators should be in control of their creations. Hard stop. I'm a firm believer of that. And it doesn't matter whether you're a writer or an artist. I believe that creators should be in control. Now, with that said, I think that creators also have to recognize that their creative control with an organization the size of a Marvel or a DC is somewhat limited, right? If an artist really truly wants true control over their creations, then I think your images and some of these other smaller independent companies out there is the better way to go, right? Because you are the owner of that company, right? And therefore you are in control of what happens. When you are working with a large organization, because I work in pharmaceuticals, and there are large pharmaceutical companies and there are small, and they're kind of in between. And with each one of those, large, medium, and small, there are pros and cons. And when you go to one of those companies, you, for better or worse, assume the liabilities, if you will, and the limitations of that organization. There are some things that are out of your control, right? And I think it's no different when you are a creator to some extent. When you're working with one of these large organizations, you are giving up some control to the machine, right? And when I look at what happened with Rob Liefeld, I think that he could have potentially put things in his contract that gave him better control. And it's not like he's a new creator. It's not like he hasn't worked with Marvel. It's not like he doesn't know what Marvel is capable of, or the behemoth that they are with all of the different working parts of that organization. There are some things that come along with working with those organizations. There's no doubt about that. And so I think that we should all like give respect to creators who create. And I think that those creators also have to recognize that when they do business with certain type of companies, there are certain things that they are giving up control of. And I think those are my thoughts. So, Cuz Buzz, if you have more questions about that, let me know. Throw it in caps so I can actually see it and I can maybe pick up on that thread. Scrolling down, first two seasons of Arrow. Then I don't know. Again, for me, Jake Conrad is making a point here that the first two seasons of Arrow were pretty good and then it fell off. So I don't really have a basis, right? In my opinion, I don't have a basis for what falling off looks like. Were all the seasons fantastic? No, but as a whole, they were good. Was I entertained? Yes, I was entertained. And so as a person who is not a Green Arrow fan, I'm a casual observer of this TV show and I dug it, but I think for someone that may have a little bit of more experience with Green Arrow, higher expectations, I think it might be a little bit different for them. So scrolling down, Niles Effort, how you doing? Again, it's a whole different group of people here, some of I've never seen before, which is really cool. Niles says he got his in-game tickets. The wife and he are going this evening at 10 p.m. Bro, wear some adult diapers, right? You are going at 10 o'clock at night. It is a 3-hour movie. You're probably going to have a pop or something like that. So wear some adult diapers. You can power through. Take some no-dos or something like that. Mark's Madness is saying, do you think people are overly delicate with their slabs? Um, you know, I think part of it is that people spend really good money on slabs, right? To get a book cleaned, pressed, and encapsulated is not a cheap endeavor. And I have seen people that have purchased slabs that have been very upset with the seller if the slab is scuffed or nicked or something like that. And honestly, if you put two slabs together and you rub them back and forth, if they're like in a box or something like that, and they're being moved around, they will bump up against one another and do damage. And I have seen people that will not buy a slab book if the slab is damaged, or I've seen people actually try to get money back from sellers who have sold them slabs that were damaged. So are people being overly delicate? Maybe, but they're doing it because slabbing isn't cheap. And if they intend to sell the book, sellers will complain. You know how we can be, right? As collectors, as hobbyists, as enthusiasts, we are particular. You know what I'm saying? And if you have two slabs that are side by side, same book, same grade, same condition, everything, but one has a scuff slab and one is not, which one are you going to buy? Right? So that's kind of how I look at it. Oh man, I lost the whole stream. I was trying to hold the chat so that I could follow questions here. I lost it. Yeah. So I see Party Time making a recommendation for here for comicspriceguide.com. I definitely like that service. They were actually on the show. Ron from the show was, from that company was on the show a couple of weeks ago. I dig them for raw book prices. Ron is also a huge Batman fan. So he and I oftentimes talk on Instagram because I dig Batman. So you definitely want to check them out if you're looking for prices. Longbow Hunters. I think that's the book that I got, I want to say. Scrolling through, loved Arrow, but the show kind of went downhill. Did you guys hear that the main actor, the guy that plays Green Arrow, actually cried? He cried when he found out that the show was being canceled, and he was the reason that the show was being canceled. And I think he was basically saying it's because he has really enjoyed the last 7 years on the show, working with the different people, and he kind of cried in his car. But he decided not to move forward with the show because I think he has a young child and actually wants to spend time with his wife and child and all that kind of stuff, which I completely get. But there's that balance of family and business. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought that was a real testament, I think, to what they have tried to do on that show. And again, I enjoy it. As a casual observer of the TV show, I dug it. What do I think is the best price for X-22? That's tough to say, bro. I would say the best price for X-Men 266 is one that is closest to FMV and within your budget. I mean, that's like the best answer that I can give, right? So if it is a graded book, I would say definitely go collect, look up the price, determine the FMV, look at the sales price of the book that you're looking at. Is it FMV? Is it below? Is it above? Make your decision based upon that. If the book is raw, you may want to go to Comics Price Guide and look up prices there, or you can look at Go Collect and basically say, if a slabbed book is this, then a raw book must be less than that, and you can kind of guesstimate what your price should be for it. But that's like the best piece of advice that I can give there. Um, Old Wolf 65 says, "How do you determine how much to pay for a book and how much you're willing to pay for a book?" No, it's not a stupid question, not at all. So for me, it's very similar to what I just said. If I identify a book that I want for my collection and I think that it's a good book, it's a Silver Age book, for example, what I immediately do is I go to see what's happening with prices. I'll go collect, I'll look up the price, I'll look up the grades, and it's that thing of for for this grade, it's going to cost this. And then I look at my wallet. Right? So an 8 is going to cost this. I look at my wallet. Do I have 8 pricing in my wallet? If not, then I look at a 7, and or a 6.5 or something like that. If I look at my wallet and I'm like, okay, 8 cost this, I've got that and more, maybe we go to an 8.5, right? So there is that. There is the financial feasibility part for me, right? Can I afford it? And if I buy this book, is this going to prevent me from doing something else that I need to do for my family or elsewhere in my life? You know what I'm saying? The other part of it is, I'll always do this. Okay, it's going to cost me X for this book, but I don't like that grade because the quality of book that I can get for that isn't what I want for my collection. And so I'll actually say, well, I'm not going to buy that book now. I'll wait, right? I'll wait for me to have more money saved up or whatever to be able to buy the better book. For me, it's always a question of, what can I get for my dollar? And is that sufficient for me and my collection? Is that going to make me happy? Right. So you could look at a book and you can be like, boom, I can get this 3.0 right now for $500. And I'm looking at that 3.0 and it looks awful. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna just get it for now, and later on I can get a 5. I would wait for the 5. I wouldn't get the 3 because I would get the 3 and I would be happy with it and it wouldn't satisfy me. I would wait for the 5. Wait for the 5, I would get the 5, and then I would get that 5, and then I would be like, you know what? This is it. And some people would say, well, don't you want a 7? Well, yeah, I want a 7, but my wallet doesn't call for a 7, and this 5 isn't bad. So I'm going to stick with this 5, That's just kind of how my mind works. So hopefully, Old Wolf, that kind of answers your question a little bit. There is that balance between what is the objective for your collection? What are the standards that you set for yourself? How much can you afford? Those are kind of some of the things that I think about. So I'm scrolling through the questions here. DLE Comic, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Says, I got to hold a yellow label AF-15 for a few weeks ago at a show. Dealer let me take a picture with brother. Pedro, that's about as close as I've come to AF-15s as well, my friend. I got to go visit one at my buddy Ben's house, and he had a 3.5. I got to hang out with that. I've gotten a chance to take a couple of photos with other AF-15s. But yeah, that's the extent of my AF-15 exposure. One day we will have her here, and we will have her on the wall somewhere. Brian says he just spent his first larger shipment to CGC, 20 books. Can't wait to see those 9.6s. Brian, good luck with that, brother. I think I have 2 orders right now at CGC right now. And the best thing that you can do if you send books into anybody, doesn't matter whether it's CGC, CBCS, PGX, EGS, doesn't matter. Just forget about the books. Just send them, forget about them. That is the best piece of advice I can give, because if you go to that site every single day, you're going to be disappointed, because there are going to be more days where nothing has changed than when something has changed. So I send them and I try to forget about them. I try to let it go, and that works really well for my personality and my mind. When I first sent my first set of books into them, I was on every day on the site, refresh, and nothing changed. But as soon as I forgot about them, oh, your shipment's on its way next week, So just a little anecdotal story there. Sully to Kings, how you doing, brother? Thank you for dropping in for a couple of minutes, man. I appreciate you hanging out, and thank you for everything that you're doing on Instagram with those appearances and significant appearances of Black characters. I definitely enjoy what you're doing over there. Travis says, I need a 9.8 West Coast Avengers slab on the wall. I'll give you my shipping address. You can send me that 9.8 West Coast Avengers over, and I will put it on the front wall. Travis, you are a funny man. This week in comics, how you doing? Cuz Buzz says, well said. So I guess that answered the question. So thank you for that. It's a little difficult sometimes to do some of this stuff impromptu, right? And have it come across the right way without giving it any real thought. So I'm glad that when I'm reacting to it, it actually makes sense to people. So Jason Carr, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Ron says it's easy to criticize and difficult to create, brother. Indeed, that is true. I don't know if that was directed at something I said, but I would completely agree with that. And I work in strategy and marketing. And so one of the things that I've realized is that if you go to someone and say, help me think of this idea, we call it blue sky. People don't blue sky very well unless they have a certain personality. But if you are able to put some things in that sky for people to react to, then people are much better able to shape and react to something than they are to create something. And so I actually call it a little bit of like group think. One of the things I'll do is I'll go to my office, I'll blue sky something, I'll make some stuff up, and then I will literally put it on a wall, and then I will invite people in to actually attack it, right? To make it better, to shape it. And I call it think, because you can only come up with so much by yourself, but if you have input of others who are able to look at it from their various vantage points, then you will probably come up with a really good idea, which is part of the reason why time to time I'll post up a comment on the community tab and say, hey, what ideas do you guys have about content for the channel? And then I'll kind of go through those, I'll react to them, I'll see how the original poster reacts to it, and then from that collaboration we sometimes will come up with a really good idea. And I think you've seen a couple of examples of that on the channel recently. Like the video where we talked about death and what happens to your collection is an example of that kind of back and forth between me and a subscriber. So I definitely appreciate that comment, Ron. I think you're definitely spot on about that. Scrolling through the comments, scrolling. Matt Shaw, how you doing, brother? Oh, so Chaotic Kindness is asking what I think about the Cloak and Dagger show. So I've been watching that. So I'm in an interracial relationship, right? So I dig that. I guess they don't really have an interracial relationship. Well, kind of, sort of. I don't mind the TV show. I think it's a little slow. I don't have a tremendous history with Cloak and Dagger as characters, even though I have many of their books from back in the day. I don't really remember reading them and enjoying them all that much. But the TV show is entertaining. For me, it is not a sit and binge TV show like Arrow was. Like Arrow was a binge show. Certain seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were a binge show. Cloak and Dagger for me isn't a binge. It's a I've got an hour to kill. Let me turn on Cloak and Dagger and kind of mindlessly watch a little bit of TV. That's how I take that one. But I'm not like driven to watch it and to like get through a season like I am like with Daredevil or Punisher. Bro, bring it on. Let's just watch it all day, right? And finish it. Cloak and Dagger is not like that for me. Dakeman, how you doing, brother? Jay Perry is here. He says, any love out there in the community for tales of suspense, love, the art stories, historical significance. I wish he had the run. Do I have tales of suspense right here? I don't know if I have right here. Sorry, making a lot of noise. Oh no, that's Strange Tales. Yeah, that's Strange Tales. Yeah, I don't do much on Tales of Suspense, to be honest with you. I do like. I think there's some significance in that, right? From to your point, but that's not necessarily something that I'm into. Miss Grow, couldn't pass. So here, Friendly Neighborhood Luke says he couldn't get past the first episode. Yeah, the first couple, bro, rough. But I think I'm on season 2 now, and season 2 is a little better. But it's not like one of those binge-worthy shows. It's not that kind of show. Matt, the boy who had 7, how you doing, brother? He said he was disappointed halfway through Cloak and Dagger season 1 and dropped it. Yeah, so I did the same thing. I struggled with the first episode, and I stopped watching it. Then I came back and I watched a couple more. Then I stopped watching it. Then I started watching it again. And it's just, somehow or another, I made it through the first season, and now I'm on the second season. So There's a souvenir shop down the pier that sells those busts that you have displayed behind you. You can get capped. Yeah, so these back here didn't cost that much. Those are actually banks that I got off of Amazon for probably for like 15 bucks. The Spider-Man that's back there was actually a gift from a subscriber. Someone actually sent that to me, which was really cool. But I just really needed like a punch of color back there. The wife told me the back of the room looked extremely boring, so I've been trying to dress it up. So we've got some original art back there. We've got some BCW UV protected comics in front of that, some original art. My sword is back there. So we got a couple of little things back there to kind of dress up the background. So Daredevil, Matt, was legit. Punisher was legit. Those were really, really good shows, you know. Somebody says Cloak and Dagger starts slow, picks up. Yeah, I would definitely agree. I would definitely agree with those comments. Ben Tech 31 Kid says he has never seen Cloak and Dagger. Brother, if you got like just jump to season 2. Just jump to season 2. You won't be missing a thing. Trust me when I tell you. Yeah, JLS's comics is saying what's up, what's happening in the middle of the afternoon, bro. I had some time to kill before hitting the local comic shop to pick up some books for next month's trivia night. So I decided to just jump online to say hello to people and to talk a little comics, answer some questions, that kind of stuff. Let me scroll through the comments here. Are you watching the DC streaming shows? I am not. I'm not watching any of that because don't you have to have a subscription or whatever to watch the DC stuff? I saw some posts recently about the Swamp Thing TV show. I remember the movie right from back in the day, and I'd like to watch it. But I mean, between Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix, and my regular cable, I don't know that I need another subscription service, you know? So, like the Disney streaming service, we have opted not to get that as a family. I went out and bought like 21 Disney movies for the kids for like 21 bucks. So you can't really beat that. But I don't think that I need another streaming service in here. Something's got to go, you know? So I'm scrolling through here. Matt says he struggled through was it Cloak and Dagger? Maybe he'll give it a start again. Yeah, definitely check it out, man. Definitely give it a start. Thanks again for the show. Family showing signs of chaotic kindness. Enjoy Disneyland, my friend. Don't let them spend up all your money because comic books need love too. All right. Take care, brother. Los, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you, man. Don't get in trouble at work. He says he's watching from work. Just wanted to stop by and show some love. Definitely appreciate that, brother. It is always good to see you. Scrolling, going through Punisher. Punisher is a beast right now. Adam says he is going through Punisher now. It is a beast, let me tell you. So enjoy that. No early bird in game, brother. So Ben is asking if I'm going to see in game. I have young kids, right? So I am going to see Paw Patrol tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to see the live action Paw Patrol. We've had tickets for 3 months. No, actually, we may have had tickets for maybe 5 months, but we're going to see Paw Patrol tomorrow. We have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and we are just hopeful that they will actually sit still for this thing. This is the first real test for my children to go somewhere where they have to sit still like that. And so we think my son is getting older to the point where he can actually like watch a movie. So that might be one of the next things that we do is to try to take him to a movie like the Dumbo movie is out, but we'll see how Paw Patrol goes. So no in-game for me, Paw Patrol instead. If you guys don't know about Paw Patrol, you're missing out because it is the bomb. It is definitely the bomb. So here, Johnny Future is asking, CGC will not downgrade a book below 9.8 if the So here's the thing. I checked the CGC forum on it, and basically what CGC says, if you remove the sticker from a new comic book, the highest grade that comic book could have with that sticker removed is a 9.8. Now that assumes that the book is perfect, right? So if the book were a 10 with the sticker, if the sticker is removed, it can be no higher than a 9.8, no matter how perfect it is. But if the book has other defects, right, bends, creases, dings, blah, 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 the grade will then also fall. So the highest that it could ever get is a 9.8. So one of the questions is, what happens if the sticker is just pulled back a little bit to reveal the code and then put back in place? If that happens, that crease that is placed in that sticker will be counted against that book. So my guess is that it will be less than a 9.8 because the book now has a crease in it. So the best thing to do is, if you were going to pull that tab to get the code, just take it all the way off. Take it all the way off, because if you leave it on there, that could potentially count against the book. And if the sticker is completely removed, then it is noted on the label. If it's bent, I don't know what happens, but you're going to get a lower grade because the sticker is still attached, but it has a defect. So there you go. I know what I said in the video, but it's one of those things when you're recording, you're just talking, you're not quite sure sometimes. You just roll with it. But subsequently, I was able to get some additional information and from the CGC forums, and that's pretty much what I read. And that's also been inserted into a couple of comments and also into the description of the video to help anybody else that happens to watch it a little bit later. JLS says he would kill Hulu and get Disney. So here's the challenge is, I think Disney now owns a significant portion of Hulu. Disney owned 30% of Hulu. Fox owned 30% of Hulu. So now Disney owns 60% of Hulu. I don't know what the future holds for Hulu. I don't know if some of the Disney shows might be placed on Hulu, or if they're going to specifically reserve them for Disney Plus. So that's part of what we are trying to figure out, what will happen with Hulu in light of Disney's acquisition and the 60% stake that they have and their launch of Disney Plus. So time will tell what happens with that. The other part is we have a couple of friends that use our Hulu service. So you can't exactly get rid of it because you're cutting off your friends and your friends' kids. So all right, so I'm scrolling through the comments here. Los, thank you, brother, for stopping by. Tech31 asks if my Spidey 1 is that CGC. No, it is not. It is still in the box behind me right now. Because I have so many of those low number ASM and I keep looking at others to get, part of me wants to send all of those ASMs at the same time. And to be honest with you, bro, it's nice just to look at them in the box, even in raw format in Mylars. It's nice just to kind of flip through there and look at those low number ASMs. I'm gonna just be honest. So there's that part of me that wants to send them in to get encapsulated and all that kind of stuff. But there's another part of me that just enjoys having them here and having the ability to go buy a new one and drop it in there and be able to just look at them. You know what I'm saying? So sooner or later, they're going to go in. Right now, what I'm really doing is identifying books that can be clean, pressed, encapsulated, and then sold to get me closer to AF15. So that's really where my focus is. And all the books that I've been sending in the CGC as of late are all really focused on that versus books that I am encapsulating for the purpose of keeping in the collection long term. So, Mark's Madness is asking, do you press a 9.6 to get that 9.8? Or so if I have a book that I'm sending in to get encapsulated, I get all my books cleaned and pressed. Every book. If it's going in to get graded, it gets cleaned and pressed. If I have a book that is already encapsulated at a 9.6, I don't crack it. I'm not a crack it kind of guy for a grade bump. I've never done it. Will I do it? Maybe, but that's not really my thing. Like if you sit behind me. So my giant size X-Men back there is a 7.5. It's never been pressed. So I could probably crack that out and maybe get it to an 8, maybe an 8.5 or something like that. I don't really feel the motivation to do that, you know, and that's not a knock on anyone that does it. It's just really not my thing, you know. I like having the book. It's here, it's in my possession, it's already paid for, you know what I'm saying? And there's always that fear also that if you do crack it or send it in to be cracked, cleaned, and pressed, that the book might not come back at the same grade. It could come down lower, it could be the same, it could, who knows what could happen, because grading books is part art, part science. And so you're rolling the dice if you send it in. And I don't like to lose. All right. So scrolling down, Harvey Abel, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Um, he says, surprise live stream from Reggie proving that nothing is interesting. Brother Seinfeld did an entire, like what, 14-year run on nothing. So I thought I would give it a shot. Friendly neighborhood Luke. Yeah, man. So I did the research honestly because I didn't know if I got it right. And there were some people that started to comment that basically were like, hey, you might not be right about that. And that prompted me to go do the research. And, I'm never too big to be like, hey, I'm perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that I'm not. And I can admit if I make mistakes or if I overstate something, I will backpedal. I will try to correct it. And I appreciate you guys giving me the latitude to be able to make mistakes and also to correct my mistakes. And that's one of, I think, the really cool things about the dynamic that we've built on this channel is that we can have civil disagreements, we can make mistakes, we can learn from those mistakes, and we can move on and do it in a civil and fun manner. So I definitely appreciate that. And he says he can settle for a 9.8. I definitely respect that, brother. Who says something about a steam gun? I missed that. Let me scroll. There are so many comments. When I stop to talk, I lose a lot of it. A steam gun can get that off and not damage and put it back on. There you go. Victor's dropping knowledge. There you go. The boy who has 7 says press it all day long. He says the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8 will blow away the $15 to $25 bucks it takes to press. The only caveat that I would give boy who had 7 is that it depends on who's doing the cleaning and pressing. And this is actually something that I want to try to get into with CGC. They've actually changed how much they charge for pressing books, especially older books. It's not that as cheap as it used to be. And then a lot of the independent pressers actually have really long lead times. I spoke to one recently who has a 6-week lead time on getting books cleaned and pressed. And so you also have to take that into account. You have to take into account the time it takes to send the book away, the risk of putting the book in the mail, the risk of having that book come back to you, the cost associated with postage, the cost associated with cleaning and pressing, and the potential risk that the book may or may not come back at the same grade. So I think, people, I'm a big fan of suggesting that people take the time to really think through it to make sure that it actually makes sense. I sent some books into CGC recently, and because of the value of the books and what I was sending in, the cleaning and pressing was almost as much as the encapsulation. It is expensive, right? So you want to definitely think about it, and you want to be purposeful in what you're doing. And you should also not assume that every book can be pressed to a higher grade. You can also not assume that every book already has not been cleaned and pressed. So those are just important things that you want to think about before you just crack it and send it. Comic Collecting Agency says Disney almost owns everything. You could be right. You could be right. All of the R-rated shows or movies that Disney owns now, Deadpool, etc., will go to Hulu. Yeah, there is that chance because they said that Deadpool will definitely be R-rated. So we'll see where they decide to put it. It'll be interesting. Tony Trebetta, how you doing, brother? EGS is in the house. Think New Mutants will wind up on Hulu. JLS is basically saying he thinks that New Mutants will wind up on Hulu. So yeah, it's not direct to video anymore. You remember back in the day when it was really, really bad, it would be like release direct to video. Now it's released to Hulu where you can just go watch it there as part of your subscription. So we will see. When am I going to have a rep from CBCS? I don't know, bro. I haven't even thought about reaching out to them. I may at some point reach out to have a conversation with them, but I think, at the time I felt like they were dealing with a lot of other things. And so we may have, an ability to reach out to them and have a conversation and maybe have them on the channel. I think that they were dealing with a lot of stuff that would have diverted their attention, a lot of stuff that could have resulted in people attacking them on the channel, which can happen. But I am not opposed to having CBCS on the channel. The same way I was never opposed to really having EGS on the channel as an alternative. But what happens is behind the scenes, I tend to reach out to companies. Like when I had a lot of the grading companies on, I reached out to a lot of them. Some of them never responded. Some of them responded and then stopped responding. So yeah, we'll reach out to CBCS and see what's up. Maybe they can come on the channel and have a conversation. So scrolling down, pretty sure they own DC2, but they got to keep the illusion of competition. You could be right about that. Because I guess they own CBS, I'm sorry, Warner Brothers owns DC. And doesn't Disney own part of Warner Brothers? I don't know. You guys could be right about that. Somebody needs to do research on that. Could be a good video. People use my Netflix, so I have to send out a group text. Brandon says he has a bunch of people using his Netflix and he has to tell them, send a group text to be like, get off so I can get. Oh man, that is awesome. I think Clay is making the point that he takes his comics to a con to get them graded in person. That's definitely a good way to go. Definitely a safe route to go if you have the ability to get to a con. I think you then just have to factor in what is the price of your ticket, what is the price of your parking, your time, et cetera, et cetera. Factor that in. And you know, some people like to do all that kind of math. That's why I mention that stuff. But having your comics hand delivered is never a bad way to go. So definitely a good move. Discovery Bay Comics, you have been discovered. It's good to see you, brother. Tech 31 says it's always a good decision for him to slab keep Raw too. Scrolling through the comments, I got cable with HBO on all the movie channels. Wow. Bro, you are dropping some money over there. You're dropping some money. Comics Misexplained says he has cable with HBO, all the movie channels, HD, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Plus, or probably Amazon Prime, Marvel Unlimited, Spotify Premium, and he subscribes to some Patreons. Goodness gracious, brother. You are doing it way big over there. RegieCollects at patreon.com. All right, I'm scrolling. What are you guys talking about? Matt said the same thing. He was like, dang, that's dropping some money, bro. Yusuf says he just signed up for CGC using my affiliate link and sent them 9 books. How long does pressing and grading turnaround take? Give me a second. I actually did see your name pop up. I have a portal that I have access to, and I can actually see people that submitted books and all that kind of stuff. So far, we've had more than 1,000 people that have actually clicked on that affiliate link in the description of the video. We've had 30 people actually sign up, which I think is outstanding. And Yusuf, you signed up on 420. So it depends, Yusuf, on how you submitted the books and what tier you submitted them for. If you send me an email kind of telling me what you submitted and how you submitted, like the tier, is it standard, is it value, is it economy, all that stuff, I can probably give you turnaround times based upon the portal that I have access to, because I have that data in there, but you would have to send me an email so I could actually look it up. So RegieCollects at gmail.com, REGIE collects at gmail.com, and I'll hook you up. Comics Misexplained says he'll drop cable eventually. If my signal keeps messing up, I'm gonna drop cable as well. Hopefully when that fiber optic cable gut gets laid right in front of the house here. So fingers crossed. Scrolling down through comments. Let's show that comment there. Scrolling. Russ says he's working but listening. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. All right. What's up, digging the title? How you doing, Vika? So the title basically, bro, is I had some time to kill and was like, you know what? I'm gonna just jump on here and ramble. So basically what I've been doing is just answering a bunch of questions that people have about various topics, following up on some things that I've released videos on, clarifying other things, which is really cool. So just having some fun. Mark's Madness basically says Time Warner owns Warner Brothers. Okay, so not DC. Thank you, brother, for that. I used to live in Burbank, not too far from the studios there. I could have been Jim Lee's neighbor, trying to catch up on the stream. The stream, bro, there's not much going on with the stream. It's just me having a little bit of fun here. Lon says, thanks for the info on Paw Patrol. Gotta buy ticks instead of comics. Bro, Paw Patrol, I don't even know how much it was. My wife came to me. She was like, so do you think the kids will like Paw Patrol? I'm like, the kids watch Paw Patrol all day if you let them sit in front of the TV. They'll watch Paw Patrol all day. We literally have every Paw Patrol thing ever. We have the Mighty Pups, the Paw Patrol, the Mer Pups, the scuba gear, the pirate ship, the summer. I mean, if it is Paw Patrol, my dude gets it. He has the big tower, the small tower. I mean, he really does have it all. So, and I actually kind of dig Paw Patrol, so I'm not complaining too much at all. But Lon, good luck, brother. I'm going to see it tomorrow. Hopefully, it is going to be good. Brandon says he submitted 3 books at C2E2 and they all have to be shipped separately back to me. Yeah, the reason for that, Brandon, this is actually something I talk about in the video, is that when you submit books, it pays to submit the books in groups. And there's lots of ways to do that, right? If you submit all modern books together, modern books will be processed at the same time. But if you submit an invoice with a modern book, a Silver Age book, and a Golden Age book, those all require different processing times, right? So that's why you want to bundle your books together in some order that makes sense, right? So if you have modern books and you want to get them all back, you can do the modern tier, which is somewhat fast. You can fast track it. If you can also upgrade certain books to a higher tier, and yes, you pay more, but that way you can actually get let's say a Silver Age book and a Modern Age book to be processed at the same time in the same shipment. So you want to be aware of these things. And in fact, when you go into the CGC portal and you put in the books that you're trying to send, they will actually kind of tier them out for you, and you'll be able to see turnaround times and all that kind of stuff. But you want to structure it in such a way that you're not paying shipping 3 times, 4 times because you sent in different books at different tiers. So that's definitely something that you want to pay attention to, because shipping can be expensive, and you have to sign for these books when they come in. That's how you have the insurance. And so you just want to think about it before you pull the trigger and submit your books or turn them in. So scrolling down again, if you guys have questions, drop them in caps for me so I can actually see them. Pedro says he's considering the pros and cons of CGC and CBCS. He loves the CGC slabs, and they're by far better quality, nicer looking books, but he lives in Dallas where CBCS is located, which is a little more convenient. No, I mean, I think the thing, bro, is that there are so many videos out there that actually look at the differences between the two and the pros and cons of the two. And I think you just have to watch some of those videos and kind of decide for yourself what makes the most sense, right? I mean, Houston isn't that far from Florida, really. I mean, you're all down there, you're in the middle of the country, right? It's not that far, but I think you have to decide like what's right for your collection, what's right for the books that you want to send in, and which services do you need from your third-party grading service, because they offer somewhat different services. So you have to look at what is your collection, what are your wants and needs, what are the offerings from these various third-party grading services, and you specifically called out 2. So it's very easy to do a pro-con list with those 2 of them. And I, at the end of the day, decided that I was going to go with CGC because it made more sense for me. And I don't know that I've regretted that decision. I think CBCS has some nice service offerings, but I don't regret my decision to go with CGC. So, but if you want to talk more about it, if you want, and here's the thing, I've never used CBCS, never used it. And so my ability to help guide you or dissuade you from going with them is based upon anecdotal evidence at best and what I'm able to actually get from their website. So unfortunately, I can't really help you with that one, brother. But if you want to talk more about it, we can definitely mix it up. What is the best time of year to submit to CGC? Brother, I don't know that there is a best time of the year, right? I would say if you can be outside of con season, that's the way to go. And I think con season basically just started, so you would have wanted to have been before the last month and a half. That would have been an ideal time, but cons happen all the time, so I don't know that there is a best time, worst time to actually submit books in to be graded. So what is your fate? Hold on, let me scroll down. Brandon says he will submit to CGC but will buy CBCS and not think twice about it. There you go. What's the next key issue that you're trying to track down? Here's my list. I don't know if my list is in here. I don't see it. So I can't do it off the top of my head, but you guys know I'm working on that list, that run of ASM. And so there's a lot of low number ASM books that I still don't have that are on my target list. And I couldn't even tell you which one it is. That's really where my focus is right now. With that said, I have recently started reading the Avengers, what is it, 169, the first appearance of Taskmaster. I did not know a single thing about Taskmaster other than he could mimic someone's style if he actually saw their style. And so I went and read Avengers, I think it's 169. And I was like, this is a cool character. Okay. And then I'm in the middle right now of reading his second appearance on Marvel Unlimited. And it is it's 196. So it's Avengers 196 is his first appearance. And I'm reading Marvel Team Up 103, which is his second appearance. And I'm sort of digging the character. So I may actually pick up a copy of 196 and maybe a copy of his second appearance as well, because I kind of dig the character. I've seen that cover. I like the Avengers cover. I think it's a Perez cover. It's pretty good, not great, but I'd like to have that book in my collection. So that might be one that I go after next. And that was a Mike Huncho question. Scrolling down, someone said, when is the best time to submit a book? CGC Comic Guy says, when he has the money. That's the best time. Well said, brother. Well said. Vika says he's curious about the cleaning services offered by CGC. Are they thorough, or should he send them to an independent third party? So here, generally speaking, I think comics that are cleaned are basically like wiped off, right? Where you try to remove fingerprints and oils and stuff like that from the surfaces. Books that have white spaces on them typically are like dry cleaned with like a gum eraser. I don't know how extensive you can clean a book beyond that without it spilling over into restoration. I don't know how involved CGC's cleaning is, right? There was that video, the interview that I did with them where they actually talk about their services specifically around cleaning and pressing, that you may want to go back to watch to see if there's some tidbits and tips in there. If you're in doubt, going with a third party isn't a bad way to go. Now, with that said, I actually entrusted a book, and I don't talk about this much because it's kind of negative, but I entrusted a book to a third party to press a book for me. And the book came back damaged. I actually sent them, I think I sent them 5 books. All 5 were corner dinged and I guess en route to the third party cleaner and presser. And they were unable to remove all of that damage. So the books weren't in bad shape, but they certainly were after they were corner dinged. And then he was unable to remove the corner ding from most of the books. So it was still there. It was noticeable in my opinion. And then he also pressed the book too hard and the staple popped through the cover. And that's where I made the decision that I was not going to use a third party cleaner and presser. I just didn't have confidence. And this person was pretty highly recommended by other people. But for me, on my order, there were 2 main things that happened. USPS let me down. And this guy also let me down when he pressed the book. So I would say for me, CGC has always made, or CBC, CCS has always made a lot of sense, just because you're sending it to one place. They're responsible. They're professionals, blah, 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 blah. But, at the end of the day, I think we each have to kind of make our decisions about what we want to roll with. Scrolling down, who dat comics and movies, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Scrolling down, Ariel says he tried CBS, I'm sorry, yeah, CBCS once, and they sent him the wrong book, lost his original book. Finally, after 2 weeks, they were able to track down my books, but told me to keep the other one because they had no clue who it belonged to. Wow. Yeah, well, mistakes happen. Wow. All right. Scrolling down. Jay Perry's Jerry P, sorry, says next bunch will be all cleaned and pressed. Let it rain. All right, scrolling down. Oh yeah, here. So JLS actually corrected me. Where is it? Ah, I lost it. Yeah. Okay, here it is. So the Taskmaster's cameo was in Avengers 195. His full appearance was in 196. I read 196, but not 195. And again, I may try to pick those books up because I think they're kind of cool, you know? Um, Danny Costa said or asked when I'm going to get a Bueller vest. So never. Never am I getting a Bueller vest. There can only be one leather clad comic book YouTuber out there, and that is Bueller. He wears a vest, I wear a tank. That's how we've divided up the fashion responsibilities. um so Caleb asks at what amount does CGC drop the price for an order? Because he has 12 books. Is there a drop in price? No, there is no drop in price. So the best thing that you get, Caleb, from them is depending upon the tier of membership you have, you get a discount on grading. So if you're at the if you have the $25 membership, I think your discount is 5%. If you have the Premier, which is the one that I always recommend people get, I think you get 10% off of grading. But there is no volume discount as far as I know. Now, if you have a dealer account and you're working with a comic shop, I think, or a dealer actually gets a bigger discount, bigger than the 10% that you get with the premium. And maybe what they're doing is giving you part of that discount back. Maybe that's what's happening, but I don't think they have a volume discount. I've never seen that. Have you read the complete Frank Miller Batman yet? Ron, how you doing? It is on the shelf back there. I have not read it yet. It is a leather clad Batman Frank Miller, and I have not read it yet. I just got it about a week ago and have yet to get around to reading it. Perry Comics, how you doing, brother? I hate Perry Comics when work gets in the way of comic books. I'm just putting it out there, bro. Fred Hall Direct Edition says 196 is a good one to pick up. I want to get it, man. I jumped on eBay the other day and I looked at prices, and the prices are a little ridiculous. The prices are a little high. And I mean, if I'm looking at a raw book and I'm seeing nothing but spine text down the book and people are trying to get $200 for it, I'm kind of like, I don't know about that. But there weren't many on eBay, to be honest with you. There weren't many raw copies that did not have visible defects to those books. And so I didn't pick one of those up. And then I felt like the ones that were already graded were overpriced based upon FMV. So that's part of what has prevented me from buying one. I'm hoping I can maybe find one locally. Maybe we'll try that today when I head out of here in a little bit to hit up a couple of shops to see if I can find 196. Because again, it's a book that I think is really cool. Wouldn't mind picking it up. I think the characters kind of cool. Some of his abilities and talents. I want to check that out. I feel like he's been retconned a little bit because I watched a video on YouTube about him, and it was a little bit different from his original appearance in 196. And so with the super soldier serum and that kind of stuff versus him just having an innate ability. So I want to figure out where he was retconned, because I think could be kind of cool to better understand him as a character. And so I may need to pick up a couple of extra books, or at least read a couple of extra books to really improve my true understanding of him. Who Dat Comic says the best time to submit is December through January. We were just talking about that prior to con season. So I think my first membership to CGC was actually in maybe November. I think that was the first time that I actually submitted books, was around the November time frame. So scrolling down, so Steve says he knows someone that sent books to CGC to be cleaned and pressed, and they didn't clean it. Yeah. So there you go. Soap and water does the trick. Oh, brother, you are hilarious. Yeah, so Victor is making a comment here about verifying a CGC signature. I'm sorry, is verifying a CGC signature Stan Lee expensive? I don't know that I understand that question, Victor, because CGC actually does not verify signatures. Signatures with CGC have to be witnessed by somebody that is a witness, for authorized witness for CGC. Oftentimes, that is either done by CGC at a large convention or by a facilitator at smaller cons. And yes, there is a fee associated with that, but I don't think at this point it's going to be possible to get a witness signature of for Stan Lee. So scrolling. See, Matt says right here he cleans all the white areas himself with a soft eraser, but always does a small test area because it might. Yeah, there you go. So he's talking about it right here. Clean wipe is what I've seen with a cloth. White areas are clean with like that gum eraser or a soft eraser. And again, there's videos on this stuff to actually be able to do it the right way. Don't take my word and then go rub your comic, right? But the white areas, I think, are the areas where you can actually see the dirt, and they are the easiest to clean. The big thing, to his point, to Matt's point here, is to actually not remove the gloss. And what I've heard is that you may not actually notice you've removed the gloss until you look at the book at the right angle in the right light, and you'll actually see where you've actually removed the gloss because you rubbed a little too hard. So I think ETA Nick actually has a couple of videos up about cleaning books. You may want to check those out. ETA Nick has been around for a while, so you may want to check out what his thoughts are on some of that stuff. Scrolling. After CGC cleaning, pressing, and regrading, the book came back at a 9.4. I think I missed the first part of that comment. Heard they do about 30,000 to 40,000 now at CGC. Wow. Speaking of retcons, are you going to watch In Game this weekend? No. Comic Collection Agency, I'm going to watch Paw Patrol. It is a critically acclaimed live action show for children. I'll be watching that with the family tomorrow. Caleb says, hit the like button. This man is answering some great questions. I appreciate that, brother. Let me hit it myself. Let me hit my own like button. I come back to some of my videos and realize I don't even like my own videos. Oh man, thank you, Caleb. I definitely appreciate you, brother. I posted a video of the books before cleaning and regrading. It was CBCS 9.6, and after it was graded, it was a 9.2. Yeah, brother. I mean, again, you boy who had 7, Matt, thank you, brother. That is the risk that you take. There is definitely a risk. And I talked about this before. I sent in Amazing Spider-Man that was signed, Amazing Spider-Man 50, that was signed by John Romita and Stan Lee. 7.5 when I bought it, came back at a 7.0. And, I could have been upset, but I shrugged my shoulders and kept moving, Ghost Host Memories asked me, who is my favorite Paw Patrol character? He is torn between Marshall and Sky. I like Chase, man. I kind of dig Chase. I like the cop uniform. I'm not a big fan of German Shepherds, but I think he's a cool German Shepherd. I don't like Marshall because I don't really like Dalmatians. Sky is cool. I'm not sure what kind of dog she is, but she's cool. She's got some cool stuff. Rubble's kind of cool. Little bulldog. I dig him. My kids have every Paw Patrol toy you would imagine. Christopher Joy says ETA Nick's grading and cleaning tutorials are awesome. Yes, they are. They are definitely cool. Joshua, how you doing? Joshua Perez, it is good to see you. Glad you were able to make it to the live stream. Again, we were just hanging out, answering some questions that you guys have, just random stuff, whatever you guys want to talk about. We are jumping into it and having a conversation. At the moment, we are talking about Paw Patrol. We are talking about how Chase is on the case, says Perry. I'm telling you, dude, we watch a lot of Paw Patrol in this house. No, so Dalmatians are not necessarily bright animals. They are not bright animals. Unlike a German Shepherd, for example. My grandfather had this German Shepherd named King. Dog used to scare me to no end. I was frightened of King. This was the biggest German Shepherd I swear I've ever seen. And I don't like German Shepherds, but they are smart. They are protective dogs, which is why Chase is actually a police dog. It makes perfect sense. All right, so here we have an answer. Ghost Host says Sky is a cockapoo. Bro, I can't like a cockapoo. I just can't like a cockapoo. I just can't. So, Christopher Joy. So, to your question, he is basically asking when CGC was coming on. If you guys watched the Ready, Set, Go preview show, I talked about how I had some stuff in the works that I wanted to do this week. I wasn't sure if it was going to net out. The goal was to bring CGC back on. And what we were going to talk about, no, we're not gonna. I'm not gonna tell you that. But I was gonna have them come on. And they have some other things that they have to get to, and actually cannot come on this week. So I'm hoping maybe next week or the week after. So fingers crossed. But I do want to get these guys back on because I enjoy talking with them. I'm gonna just be honest. There are some people that I interview that I absolutely enjoy talking with, and Matt and Brittany are two people that I enjoy chatting with. So my hope is to get them back on sometime soon so we can mix it up and have a good conversation. So. Um, Johnny Future says, when is your next What Was Uncle Thinking trip? So I don't even make the trip anymore. I don't even make the trip anymore. Now I just kind of say, hey, here's some books I'm looking for. Do you have these books? Because we've developed that type of relationship where I now have the ability to do that. And it's really cool. It's a relationship that has been developed over time with the family where I can basically say, hey, here's what I want. Let me know if you have it. The books show up, and I provide compensation for those books, and it works out really, really well. And I'm very thankful to this day, very thankful um, for the opportunity to get access to that collection. And I realized that that collection probably represents 125,000 comics. 125,000 comics is what is in that collection. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about with What Your Uncle Was Thinking series, go back to the channel, watch it. What Uncle Was Thinking is quite impressive because I think thinking like Disney, I need to own it all. And it's a fun series. So go back and watch that one. Start with episode one. You will not be disappointed. So, but to that point, Johnny Future, I actually have a haul coming up, and part of the books in that haul are actually from Uncle's collection. So, I don't know when that video is dropping. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. I'm not quite sure. Again, it's the backlog of content that I have. So, more to come on that. Do I like or collect homage covers? It depends. It depends on the homage cover. So, I have some ASM. Who asked that? Comic Collection Agency. So I have a bunch of the ASM 300 homage covers that I really dig. I have a couple of the Hulk 181 homage covers. I really dig those. It depends upon the cover. Um, there is that Nick Fury Agent of Shield cover where Nick is in the middle, white, black background with like, I don't even know, it's like a retro cover. I have I have the domino cover of that, and I want to get the original because I really, really dig that cover. But I do like homage covers. I don't know that I go out of my way to get them, but I definitely dig them. Sorry about that. Scrolling down, seeing what else is in here. What do you use outside of slabbing to preserve your comics? So just the regular stuff, man. Poly bags, mylar bags, bags and boards. Nothing special. Nothing special there. All of my stuff comes from BCW. I've used BCW since I was a kid, and now they are, a sponsor of the channel. So I try to use their products because I think it's important to put your money where your mouth is. In fact, I have two sets of Silver Age bags and boards en route right now from Amazon, so I can bag up some other ASM books. But that's pretty much all that I use. Of course, regular boxes to store things in. I keep them in a cool place, that being this room, despite the fact that it's illuminated right now. But I don't really do anything special outside of just keeping them clean and cool and dry. So, all right. So let me scroll. Taskmaster, since the new century stinks. Scrolling. Seeing what else you guys are. Do I have my Tony Trubat, Reggie? Do you have your collection put in any kind of database like Cover Price? So I once upon a time started a database for my comics, and I did it in Excel. And so the last time I cried as a man was when I realized that Excel file that I put all the data into was inadvertently deleted. Talk about a knife to the heart. That was about 3.5 weeks of work that was deleted. I have had the nerve to go back and try to catalog my collection since then. I do have a membership on Cover Price. I don't really use it, but I have it set up because I did the interview with them and I wanted to, take a look at the platform a little bit closer so I could ask intelligent questions. I do use Go Collect to catalog all of my slabs and some of my higher end raw books. Go Collect is really set up for slabs, but I put my raw books high dollar in there as well because you have the ability to take photos, front and back photos. And I like having a record of my book, right? And yes, I do the videos where I unbox them and I show them, which is a great record, but I also like to have some photos that are also in the cloud as well. So outside of that Go Collect, I don't have a database of my books at all. So the Gibbon saves us all. I'm telling you, if you guys have not picked up Amazing Spider-Man 110 and 111, you're going to be disappointed when the trailers, not the trailers, the post-credit scenes drop for Endgame. Just saying. Just saying. Um, Here's Skip if you don't want to answer. What do you think about the really heavy politics that seem to be dividing the comic industry and community? Um, I think that politics, religion, topics like that are divisive by nature, right? Because you have a side, I have a side. I think that even when people disagree, that they should maintain a certain amount of civility, right? And there are people that comment on my videos, and I'm like, I don't agree with that point of view, but thank you for that comment, and I appreciate you contributing to the discussion that we're having here. And I'll even ask clarifying questions. I don't necessarily agree with everyone that comments on the videos. I don't, but I am always trying to be civil to them. And I think that on the channel, we have an ability to have that dialogue and remain civil to one another because I think that that's important. When civility goes out the window and people are having emotional arguments, emotional outbursts, I don't think that that makes anybody look good. The inability to have a logical conversation to me, that's a breakdown. And that's a mistake. And I think people don't always have to agree, but they should remain civil with one another. The reality is that comics have always been political, always been political. I am sitting here reading Amazing Spider-Man right now. Amazing Spider-Man, what am I on? 72. And when I was in like 70, 71, and now 72, there are some political things that are being discussed in the comics. And there are some things that are actually being said to Peter Parker by Black characters that made me cringe, where I'm like, oh my God, that was actually in a comic book. Comic books have always been political. Comic books have always focused on morals and moral ambiguity and how you have to pick a side. Comics have always stated a position. And if people miss, they're paying attention because they've always been there. It is definitely in Spider-Man and it is definitely in X-Men. Comics have always been political. They have always taken a position. And I think what has happened is people have lost the ability to have a discussion in a civil manner, and that's a problem. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with um, the outrage and the anger that people have. That's just not my thing. That's messy. It's sloppy, and that's just not my thing. So hopefully that answers the question just a little bit. Yeah, here you go. So Ghost Host says there's a difference between not agreeing with someone's opinion and trying to just shut them down and make them be wrong, right? Because it's that person's opinion, it's their perspective. I don't agree with it, but they're entitled to that. And I don't tell people they're wrong. You also notice I don't tell people what to do. That's just not my thing, right? We are all adults. We are all grown people. We have our own positions, but I want to be able to state my position and my beliefs, and I want to try to hear your beliefs and your position. And we may not still agree, but maybe we'll walk away with a better appreciation of one another's points of view. And if that happens, to me, that's a win. When we start berating one another and start cursing at one another, and when every comment is a political comment, and it doesn't matter whether it's a right or wrong political comment, when every comment is a political comment, my whole thing is relax. It's comics. Have some fun. You know what I'm saying? All right. Just picked up ASM 10. Congrats on that. I think you mean 110. Haven't seen Endgame, but it Mr. Boyle, you are indeed my friend. I enjoy you, my friend. Oh, Brandon. Yeah, I mean, I try to take a common sense approach to stuff. I am not a fan of extremes in any way, shape, or form. And it doesn't matter. Pick an extreme. I don't like it because I think you should be somewhere in the middle, and you can kind of vacillate on certain things. And I think that that's okay. And I'm not saying you shouldn't pick a side because I think you should pick a side, right? Be what you are, but be open-minded enough that you can at least have a conversation with somebody without being angry and calling them names, right? Anyone that starts to call someone else names has already lost the argument in my book. You have already lost the argument, right? Because what I can't remember the saying, but it's a saying like from a distance when two people argue, both people look stupid or something like that, but whatever. Um, Scrolling, hashtag no drama. Scrolling, yeah, and I just try to be a common sense person, and there are times where sometimes honestly somebody make a and I'll get a little emotional type of response. And then I'll be like, oh, I should probably delete that or edit it. We are all prone to emotional outbursts and outrage and anger and stuff like that. But it's like, how do you recover from that? Right. And is that how you want to be viewed? Is that who you want to be as a person? And at a certain point as an adult, you take responsibility for your actions and how you are viewed by people, and people view you based upon how you act and behave. And if you don't want to be that kind of guy, then don't be that kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? So, um, Dalton, I appreciate that, brother. Robotech 909, how you doing? All right, so I think I'm gonna get myself out of here. I've enjoyed this. I love live streams. This is the first time I think maybe I've done it once other where I just have no agenda, like no agenda at all. But I actually love these live streams, the ability to interact with you guys. And I've had people say, "Hey, thank you for taking the time to respond back to my comment." If you take the time to watch my videos, the least that I can do is to take the time to respond to your comment. And it depends on how much volume I get, how much I'll respond. But I enjoy interacting with you guys. I enjoy chatting with you. To me, this is the fun of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of the reason why my videos, I don't give all the answers. I kind of throw stuff out for you to think about and for you to comment on because I like this. I like this dialogue. And you can't do that with a pre-recorded thing. It's a little harder, right? But the live streams give us the ability to kind of mix it up and have a little bit of fun. So hold on, before I get out of here, it looks like a couple of comments have popped in. Pedro, thank you, brother, for stopping by. I appreciate you. Get back to work and keep us posted on how things go. You have three crowds, morning, night. There are a couple of crowds. There are people here, I swear, I've never seen before, which I think is wonderful. I think that is wonderful. Horror Have No Fear Comic says, thanks, Reggie. Good answers to many questions. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the kind words and I appreciate you watching. Russ says, these are probably the most positive and empowering videos since Tony Trombetta. Oh, Tony Robinson. Brother, again, this is comics, man. This should be fun. And yes, there is some serious stuff that goes along with it. Yes, there's some money involved in it, but it should be fun. I started reading comics back in the day as a kid to not to escape something bad, but just to escape and to dream and to have fun. And I still want to maintain that because life is hard enough. We all have bills, we all have responsibilities, we all have bad stuff that's going on in our life. But when you come here, let's have some fun. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, not walking on coals with your you guys are hilarious. All right, so I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. Thank you for the thumbs up on this video. Thank you for all of the engagement that you guys give me over the course of any given day, from the emails to the direct messages to the comments on the videos. I appreciate you guys. This is what makes it really fun for me. And so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a little bit. If you need me, if you want to chat, reach out to me in the comment section. Hit me on Instagram at RegieCollects or send me an email at RegieCollects@gmail.com. I will tell you the comment section is a good way to go. The direct messages on Instagram are fantastic because it gives me the ability to type a response back or to record a video. Email takes me a little bit longer, but use the means of communication that works best for you.